Hello everyone. Today I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about white fur because it's one of those subjects that looks quite simple on the surface, but it can be one of the most sort of misunderstood areas to draw. So when we're starting out, we can tend to think that white fur should be easy. After all, it's just white, right? But in practice, it's often more to it than that. And the key thing to remember is white fur isn't actually white. And what do I mean by that? So if we were to create a drawing using only white pencils, the result would be it would look flat, chalky, lifeless. We've all been there. There wouldn't be any sort of sense of form, no softness, no depth, just a sort of a pale shape, I guess, sitting on the page. So that's where light, shadow, temperature and a little bit of subtle variation comes in, because white fur doesn't get its realism from sort of the colour white. A real helpful exercise when you're starting out is maybe to either make your own viewfinder or get a viewfinder and put that little square over your reference photo of your white animal that you're going to be drawing, and you'll hopefully notice that there's more. It's not white. You can see subtle colours there, so they could be gentle greys, creams, cool blues, violets, sometimes pink, green. Now that colour is more often than not coming from the environment, the light source itself and the animal. So our brains are very good at simplifying what we see. So it labels things quickly, like that's white, or that's pink, that's brown, because it's efficient. But as artists, we have to slow that down and override that instinct, because we're not drawing what we think we see, we're drawing what's actually there. So always ask yourself, for instance, in this picture that I'm doing, it's more of a illustrative one, really. I wanted to draw an atmospheric piece for over Christmas. So it's not my usual style, but I just wanted to give it a go. So before I started this piece, I asked myself, where is the light coming from? Is it strong or is it soft? Is it warm or cool? So for example, in this drawing, I'm drawing a hare in moonlight. So the light source is the moon. So it's cool, it's silvery, it's sort of gentle. It's a gentle glow. Now that immediately affects every decision that I make. So the highlights won't be warm, they'll be cool. Not overly cool though. So there's a little bit of nuance. The shadows won't be dark brown, they'll sort of carry cooler notes as well. So I'll be mixing warm and cool. So next I'll look at how that light moves across the hair. So it won't sit evenly across the fur, so it'll wrap itself around the body. It will catch on raised areas and it will fade as the animal's turned away from the light source, from the moon. So I look closely at the shape of the animal, the head, the roundness of the chest, the back of the neck, the body, and I use light and shadow to describe those areas before I even think about, obviously, the fur texture. That comes later. Depth first, detail at the end. So in the base layers, I'm not trying to draw fur at all. I'm thinking in terms of simple shapes of light and dark. I'm asking what part of the body faces the light, what parts are turned away from it, and where does it soften and where does it sort of tighten on the hair. So, but I do apply even the base layers in the direction that the fur naturally grows. That's very important. But I'm not concerned about individual hairs at this stage. Okay, so with regards to temperature, even though an animal may appear white, it's still a warm, living body. So there is heat beneath that fur, and that warmth can subtly influence the colour. So while the light source might be cool, like the moonlight, the body itself still carries that warmth. So that's where the mixing of the warm and cool tones becomes important. The cool tones generally belong to the light and atmosphere, the warm tones belong to the body and life beneath the fur. So for again in this piece, the moonlight cools the highlights, the night sky introduces soft notes into the shadows, and later on the snow on the ground reflects cool light back up into the fur. And at the same time, I gently introduce warmth within the body so that the animal doesn't feel cold or lifeless. So those colours don't need to be heavy or obvious. Subtlety is everything. So often a light glaze towards the end is sometimes all we need. Just enough to suggest those temperature shifts without overpowering the drawing. So shadows next, because shadows do a lot of the heavy lifting. One of the biggest, things I see really is treating shadows as just darker white, but shadows are a little bit more, there's a little bit more to it than that. So you've got shadows that are where the surface gently turns away from the light, and you've got shadows which are more stronger where the body meets the surface. So for instance, that would be where the hair is sitting on the ground. So those shadows can be slightly deeper and often cooler. It helps anchor the animal and give it weight. So with regards to going up to the final sort of layers, you don't need to draw every hair. In fact, doing so often makes white fur look busy and unnatural. Just pay attention to the overall direction of the fur, the thickness of the hair, whether it lies smoothly or it's in clumps. A helpful way to think about it is white fur is about light, not necessarily colour. Warmth gives it life, cool tones give it atmosphere, shadows give it structure. So just take a moment before you actually start just to have a look at your reference and just ask yourself some questions. Don't overcomplicate it though, okay? Just enjoy the process. Just the small thoughtful adjustments that you just need to maybe take into account and start to think about. I hope that's helped a little and helped you sort of understand white fur a little bit more. If you've enjoyed the video, please do like and subscribe. I'll be sharing many more tutorials like this. Thanks so much for spending the time with me. So take care and hopefully see you in the next one. Bye for now.